Welcome back. It's the Flow Friday Sports Show here on Flow FM, and it's time for our Southern Mallee Giants netball report. And joining me on the line is the 300 gamer and the juniors director, Trudi Cook. She's back. Missed last week. She was a little under the weather, but she's back with us. Trudi, good to have you back on the line. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, it's good to be back. I've got my voice back. I think is a good thing for me. Lots of other people probably prefer me without a voice, but no, I've got my voice back and feeling much better.
I'm not sure if that's true. You're in an important role there, Trudi. Gee whiz. Now, Trudi, talking Southern Mallee Giants just from an internal perspective, results not the greatest right now, but there's some mitigating factors there. So just talk us through the latest as far as Giants land goes.
Yeah, look, we had a few get struck by the winter blues last week, coming down with the cold and whatnot. So, look, in the A grade, we had a couple of crucial players out, but Jamie O'Reilly stepped up into the A grade and held her own, and young Tia Credlin, who's come up through juniors but has been playing a bit of seniors in the past season or two. And look, she really held her own. She played in the goals, where it can be quite a high-pressure position, I should say. So, now, look, Tia went really well, and the girls went quite well against the Saints. They held their own for most of the game. Look, the last quarter blew out a little bit, but yeah, look, they surprised me, I suppose, A grade in that sense. They are really starting to gel a bit better together, and to have those new players come in was a good effort. So, although the scoreboard didn't reflect it in A grade, they did put up a good fight. Unfortunately, in the B, C and juniors, our scoreboards didn't look that great. But look, to focus on the positives, I think in the B grade, there's a handy little defence we've picked up. Akita Scown, who's a partner of a local man here. And look, she's going really well in defence, played a bit of wing defence, but now in the goals, and she's someone to keep an eye out for. C grade had a really tough game. I think they scored their second and last goal in the final quarter. So, look, they had a tough game as well, but they're hanging in there and playing well. And both our juniors got mercied against the Saints. So, look, there are some tough games out there for the Giants at the moment, but the development's continuing, and we see that especially in our junior players. Isabella Hoof at goal attack in the under-15s and Leah Hallam in goal defence in the under-13s. They're key players that we're seeing lead the teams and show their younger players some development and skills throughout the game. So, look, the scoreboards aren't looking positives, and the ladders aren't probably what we're focusing on at the moment, but we're hanging in there.
I think the way you've got to all look at it as a collective, Trudi, is to... I mean, I would liken it basically to my AFL team right now, West Coast Eagles. You've got a really good set of players as far as the first team goes, but when you're so stretched, of course it's going to have an overbearing effect, which is a negative one on the rest of the teams as well. It just trickles down. So, I mean, that's the way. Absolutely. That's the way you've all got to look at it right now, I would have thought.
And that's a good comparison with West Coast, I suppose. It is, once you take a few key players out, it does stretch it out across, and it's a good opportunity for West Coast and for us at the moment to develop those upcoming players. So we're making the most of that.
Well, let's take a look at the other results from last weekend, Trudi. Which games really took your sort of focus here? I mean, we had a number of decent games to look forward to. So which of the fixtures that were played last weekend really caught your eye?
Yeah, look, it split a few for me. I thought there was some real contenders out there. I thought Ararat would have went a lot stronger against the Horsham Demons, but they went down by 29 goals to the Horsham Demons. So that one really surprised me. I thought that might have been a closer game. Dimboola and Stawell are both proving to be quite strong teams that haven't... they've always been competitive, but probably haven't been at the top of the ladder in the past seasons, where Stawell was really finding their feet and managed to have a convincing win over Dimboola, I apologise. So that game surprised me as well. But yeah, look, Warwick and Nil won that 43-29, and that would be expected. And it's great to see Nil having that success in their A-grade team. So congratulations to them. But yeah, a few surprising results there.
Now, before we move on, just tell us more about Kathy Moore. A big day for her on the weekend.
It sure was. She managed to play her, I think it was 150th game from memory. so she had a bit of a presentation there. I was talking to her last night. Apparently a few records got lost back when Beulah were a netball club by themselves before we became the Giants. So we're actually predicting she's a little over that. But look, Kathy didn't join the community, the Beulah community, till about 2006. And she's had 3 children since then. So to clock up that many games, that's a top effort. And we've got a couple of celebrations this week as well in milestones. So Kimberly Landrigan is playing her 250th game on the weekend. She's playing B grade. And we've got Kimberly Decker playing 150 games. So top effort to those girls. And as we always say with netball, there's seasons on and off with pregnancies and whatnot. Like Kat's a mother of 4, Kimberly's a mother of 5. So to clock up those milestone games is a credit to them, and we will celebrate them on Saturday.
Bit of a divvy up to the fixtures in Wimmera football and netball this weekend. We've already had one game played, so just firstly tell us about that game, Trudi.
Yeah, so Ararat played Stawell back on Good Friday. They always have a standing game at the beginning of the year with that. So, look, Ararat won that 25 and Stawell to 27, which really surprised me. I think later, looking at the way Stawell is shaping up at the moment, I reckon they'll have a really good hit out later in the season if they play each other again, which they will. I reckon Stawell might come over them next time. But, yeah, look, back on Good Friday, Ararat took the cake there.
We'll focus on all things Giants. So Dimboola is the task this weekend. How's everyone feeling, Trudi? And is there any sort of change up to anything as far as training goes, or potentially the lineup going into this game for the A grade?
Yeah, look, at the game we've got Ruby Fisher back in, who was unfortunately not well last week. So she's a huge asset to the team playing in centre and wing attack. So providing that drive through the court, it'll be great to have her back. Tia Credlin's held her position, as I mentioned earlier, in the goals, and she's quite tall, Tia, so I think her height will be quite the advantage this week. Dimboola have had some convincing wins against some other teams, but when they've had a loss, they're quite big losses. So I'm seeing a bit of inconsistency there at the moment, so I'm hoping the Giants can use that to their advantage and make sure they play consistently to take out the win, because they're definitely in with a chance.
Minyip Mataura side, you know plenty about. They're up against it. They'll be playing the Horsham Saints away from home. So who's your tip for this one?
Yeah, no, look, Saints are sitting pretty comfy on top, and after seeing how they played on the weekend, although we held our own there for a bit, they're a very strong team, and I just don't think Minyip Mataura will be able to match that, especially playing indoors at Saints' home ground.
And the Horsham Demons, they come up against Nil. Who's your tip here? Because this one might be slightly harder to call, Trudi.
Yeah, it will be. Look, Nil in the past, as I said, haven't had a great winning streak, but they most certainly have this year. So I think it'll really push Nil, and I think they'll give Demons a bit of a shock. Sometimes Demons probably go in thinking that there's a bit of an easier win there. So I think Nil will give them a push, but I do believe Horsham Demons will come out on top with that one.
All right, well, Trudi, before we let you go, this might buzz you out a little bit, but we're going to get a little bit political. Firstly, the young Credlin that you've got in the team there, she's not, Credlin's a quite well-known name out there in the Wimmera Mallee. She's not a descendant of the Peter Credlin, is she?
Oh, you're pushing me here, but I don't think so. I'll have to check with their family tomorrow, but not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, we'll have to get the family tree out there.
I was going to say, check in with me next week and I'll make sure I do some research on that one.
And just lastly, Trudi, as far as the budget goes, which we've heard all about this week, is that going to have any ramifications as far as things like the canteen go? Do you suspect that people will continue to support the club internally through the canteen?
Yeah, look, I think they will. Country people tend to be pretty set in their ways, and because every club's the same and based on volunteers, and we know how much work goes into a club and a game day, look, most people are always supportive of other clubs and their own clubs. So I think people will continue to support there and, yeah, make sure that we're backing each other as clubs, definitely.
Trudi Cook, the 300 gamer from the Southern Mallee Giants, also the junior director at the club this year. It's a very big job. And right now, I dare say there's a lot of listeners that won't be envying you, but I'm sure that's going to change. Hopefully it will soon. Trudi Cook, thanks so much for your time. Good luck this weekend.
Good on you, Alice. Thank you.